welcome back to another episode of Grinding Iron and Flour. Today I got a present. I am going to pick up my fab table, so let's go hook the trailer up and go grab it. We're all hooked up. We're heading over there, so I'll see you there. We just got here. I didn't film much at the guy's house. Just out of respect for him because his shop was at his house, but here's the table. 50 by 100, 8-inch sides. I believe the holes are 5/8 every 2 inches. So I got to build a base for it, but it looks good. So here we are. The table's a little dusty from the drive up, but yeah, 3/8 top sheet, 3/8 sides, and that's 8 inches tall on the sides. And then he gave me these plates which bolt to the table so I can weld the base together, and then these plates will bolt to casters. So I got all that, and this is all of its laser cut, and that's the laser cutting finish. Super good quality, which is really awesome. So all these holes are laser cut, like it's on a pattern. They're all welded. Everywhere there's a slot. He has braces running vertically and horizontally, which is nice. It's a solid table. They make 1/4 inch top and sides as well. They're a little cheaper. 3/8 is gonna be a lot stronger. So that's kind of why I went for this one. This is again 50 by 100. Plan is just to use some of the scrap steel. Now that I look at it, I don't think I have any 3x3 scrap, so I might have to go buy some. But the 2x2, I have a bunch of this 2x2 scrap, a ton of it. No, that looks like 4x4. So I can use some of that 2x2 for cross bracing and what have you, and some of the flats for stuff. But for my uprights, they're gonna all be 3x3 because that's what these are designed for. A 3x3 opening, and then the tube's gonna lay in there, then you can just run a bead around the side edges. So that'll be good. This is really exciting. It is a brand new day. I went out and I bought everything I need to get the fab table up and going. So let's go ahead and build a frame. For starters, I'll show you what I got. These are my casters I got. I got these ones from Home Depot. They're rated for 330 pounds each. They're all of them are swivels, and all of them have locks. That's the way I like it. I think it's important that all of them have swivels. If you don't want to put locks on all of them, you don't really have to, but it's kind of nice when you're pulling and pushing stuff and you can lock all the wheels. So I got these. These were the heaviest duty ones I could find at Home Depot. Not sure if they're going to be strong enough. They were like $16 a piece though, so they're not too bad. So if I have to buy new ones, I can. And then I got all my nuts and bolts here. Honestly, this was the expensive part, but I got all my mounting bolts for the casters, and then for table side, found some scrap of 3x3, and I ended up buying another 10-footer of 3x3. That's for all the uprights. And then I have just a ton of 2x2. I use 2x2 for lots of different frames and what have you, so I should have plenty of 2x2 to make my bottom subframe. So let's go ahead and get our measurements figured out and we can start building. All right, so here's my measurements. My table is 8 inches tall, and then I have 1/4 inch plates on top and bottom. This is to mount to the table, that's to mount the casters. And then my caster is 6 1/4, so that leaves me 25 1/4 for my uprights. Now, since those uprights are going into a 1/4 inch plate, they can be a little bit longer than that, and I can go, I can move this. However, it just can't protrude it like that because, again, it has to be bolted to the bottom surface. So if they're, 1/8 long or whatever, that's fine, just because of that. when it comes down to welding these on, what I'll do is set these up so that they're perfectly 90, and then I'll measure from the back side down to the end and make sure that I have 25 1/4 on that, and then if I need to move it to 16th or whatever, I can shim it. And then these plates are getting welded just like that on the ends, and then my casters are bolting to them, so that'll be pretty good. All right, so I got my 4 uprights. I cut them all to 25 3/8, just so I have a little bit of an overlap there, so I will be in this plate by 1/8 inch, which ain't much, but it's enough to make me happy. I went to the General this morning and they didn't have any stops or clamps or anything for fixture tables, which is kind of a bummer. I would have liked to show you guys how to use the table in this video, but I have them on order, so once I get them in, we have plenty of projects in the future, so we'll have a video coming out showing you guys how to use the table and all the stops and whatnot. But for now, this table is perfectly square. So this corner right here is 90, this corner right here is 90, this corner right here is 90. That's all perfect. So I can line this up on the edge there perfectly, so that's perfect. Line this plate up right there, and I know that's all perfect. This plate is now 90 to that tube. That's just how you do it generally. When you get stops, you can put a stop in one of these holes, and then if you come down the same row and you put another stop in this hole, if you push your tube up to that, it'll be perfectly 90 from the other end. So it'll be perpendicular or parallel. And that's just how you use this table. All the clamps act as stops as well, but I'll show you more about that later. So now I'm going to line these up and I'm going to measure these out. So it's from this end of the plate to that end of the tube is 25 1/4. So I'm going to get those all lined up, and then I'm going to get them tacked in. Make sure when you're welding these, you want to tack them on the outside here. You can tack on the inside if you want, but then you're going to have to grind it down so everything is below this face, because this is bolting to the underside of the table. So to help me line these plates up, I'm measuring from the end all the way up to 25 1/4, and then I'm scribing a line right there at 25 1/4. So that way, when I throw this plate on, I know exactly where to go with it. And then I can double check my square as well by, once I get this side tacked up, I can flip it over and see where my line is, and if it pulled away or pushed in, so I can tap it over until it lines up with that line again. Just a little trick to make it a little easier for you guys. So there you go. I got all 4 of them tacked up. I just tacked them on all 4 corners of this 3x3. You can see there we're underneath it by about 1/8 inch, maybe 3/16. So we're not going to have any issues with clearance. So I'm going to go ahead and flip over my table so I can get those bolted on, and I can build the frame. You don't want to finish weld anything until we have everything squared up and tacked together, or else the heat's going to cause things to warp and shift, and it's just not going to work right. So if you're by yourself, these are pretty heavy, so you're going to need some equipment to flip it. You could probably do it by yourself using leverage and some physics, but I'm just going to grab the tractor and flip it. If you have someone to help you, then you and another guy could probably flip it. So here's the better view of what it looks like underneath the table. So as you can tell, those are the plates that I was talking about for bolting the legs. It's important that they are this way, because if you weld it to the side, you won't be able to use these holes. You can weld to these corners if you wanted. It's just easier to do it this way. That's how Isaac builds them all. So let's go ahead and get everything mounted up and bolted tight, and then we can start building the base. All right, now I got these all bolted in. Now what you want to do is measure across this way on both sides, measure across this way on both sides, and then measure diagonally to get your square, and make sure that these are all square. So for my table, built by Isaac, This is a 50 by 100 table. I have 43 inches from the outside of this one to the outside of that one. And, oh, I don't remember what this one was. It was like 96 or something, but they were all the same. I think one was out by a 16th or so, which is not a big deal. But my cross measurements were 102 and a quarter, I believe. And I think that way was out by a 32nd, maybe a little over 30 seconds. I'm not going to worry about it. So now we are going to go to our scrap rack and find some pieces that are going to work for our cross pieces. This one might work. Oh, we're a little short. So I'm going to use this 2x2. It's just going to get welded in there. I'll probably make it an inch or so down from the end of this, just to give me some room to do bolts for the casters. But that's what it's going to look like. It's going to be 2x2, so you're going to have a 1/2 inch on each side. All right, there it is. It's all tacked in. I didn't have any 2x2 that was long enough for this section. It was 87. All mine were a little bit short, so I just cut another piece out and filled the gap on that. And then this one was quite a bit short, but it turned out good. You can't even hardly tell it's there except for the weld. The way I did that is I cut them long, and then I beveled the sides and I clamped them to the side of the table because that is perfectly flat. And then I threw a piece of 1x1. You can use channel. Channel would be the best to use because channel is super straight. Angle works pretty good as well. And I threw that on top, and then I just tacked 3 sides. Took the 1x1 off while it's still clamped to the table, tacked the other side, and then I took the whole thing off and welded it. Works pretty good. If I wanted to, I could grind that down and you wouldn't even know I did that, but I'm not too worried about it. This is just a shop table. The important part is that the actual table is level and square. We're going to be building some leveling feet for this in the future that just go onto the tube here, and they have a bolt coming out so you can level it, so then you can use levels. But this is where we're at so far. I got to get these plates welded on, and then I noticed that my casters are the wrong size. So he told me that this is your generic caster pattern, which I don't doubt it. The ones I got are too small. So I'm just gonna be plug welding these on for now, and when they break, I'll just cut the plug welds and then get ones that are right. So now I'm gonna go ahead and finish weld the rest of this and then get these plates tacked on. There it is. I got all of them welded up. Now I realized that I gotta weld these plates, gotta get welded on either head. So I'm just gonna go ahead and flip the table and then have it lifted off the ground on the forks of the tractor so I don't have to weld them overhead. Okay, so I lifted the table up quite a bit so when I sit down I can look at it comfortably, and then I welded all of these on. Just a light plug weld, nothing crazy, on all 4 corners. So now she's pretty much done. If you wanted to, some people will take some strapping and they'll weld it to here, and they'll come down with it, come over, and then weld it up so you can hang angle grinders on, but I'm not gonna do that right now. I got a bunch of work I gotta get done. But here it is, it's the finished product. I'm gonna throw it on the ground now after I sweep everything up, and we'll have a good working fab table. Table is done. Rolls really nice. Right there at waist height, which is perfect. And we can reach all the way across the table. We're not gonna be bending over, hurting ourselves, breaking our backs, trying to fab stuff now, which is super cool. So let's talk about maintenance on these tables real quick, because it's really important that we keep a good flat surface. So you don't want to grind anything. If you get welding BBs on there, you want to just scrape them off and then spray it down with WD-40. That helps prevent things from sticking. And that's it. So thanks for watching.